Hi, this is the incomparable Lance Moss from YouTube.com/LanceMossTV, and you're watching The WrestleGamer on WGS-TV.
Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFX-TV. I'm the WrestleGamer, Double B Bunny Boudreaux, along with the incomparable Lance Moss from YouTube.com/LanceMossTV. This is going to be our Impact Wrestling review for the week of October 1st, 2014, fresh off the heels of last week's New York City Gold Rush. Well, Austin Aries was out there and he was trying to pull the audience as to what championship. I can't believe in some cases the audience was actually entertaining the fact that he challenged Gail Kim with a knockout. Well, that's just wrong, in my opinion. I don't know why some of them would even say to that, but Samoa Joe would come out and kind of make a convincing argument as for why Austin Aries should go for the X Division Championship. You know, Aries agrees to it, so we have the matchup right here for the X Division Championship. And let me just tell you this, Samoa Joe and Austin Aries are just two of the reasons why I love the X Division so much in TNA. The way they work in this match, you would think Aries was going to be put over because of his win in last week's New York City Gold Rush. You know, but it didn't really happen. You know, there were a lot of great spots during this match, but the finish with Aries brainbuster failing to secure the win and the last Chancery being countered into the rear naked choke, the Kankita clutch by Samoa Joe, was indeed a great finish because of the way they were going back and forth so many times in this match, Lance. You really had no idea who was going to win, which in my mind makes for a great match because it draws us to continue watching just to see what the outcome of this match is going to be.
That's absolutely correct. I mean, you're going to get a good match a good, maybe close to great match when you get two main event caliber guys, well, TNA main event caliber guys, which Joe and Aries are. So I'm not sure if they knew or not.
And in some cases, in my mind, TNA is doing a better job of drawing fans to watching their matches than WWE.
Oh yes, very much so.
Following this, EC3 was addressing Rockstar Spud, kind of dressing him down, he said he was blaming everybody for what happened to Dixie Carter going through the table, including Rockstar Spud. Eric Young would then come out. He was already scheduled to have a match with EC3 and was trying to stick up for poor little Spud, who looked like he was dressed from the Picasso warehouse outlet. And seriously, where did they get these outfits for Rockstar Spud? I mean, seriously, where does he find them? Where does he get them?
I think it's Goodwill.
Probably. Well, maybe mediocre. Well, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, when Young fails to get through to Spud, EC3 attacks him, and then instead of just waiting for the matchup to happen for the second straight time in the show, we go from an in-ring promo to a match. And like we said before, EC3 was verbally berating Rockstar Spud, which would lead everyone to believe a change in the storyline is forthcoming for Spud. It's really hard to argue with the fact that EC3 has heat with the TNA audience as of late, and honestly, it would make for an interesting angle to see too. Just exactly how they would play out a feud between Spud and EC3. But anyway, Young did try to get through to him, but it leads to EC3 attacking him, which leads to the match. Overall, it was an okay match. We did see glimpses of where it looked like Spud was going to go against EC3, especially the spot where EC3 distracted the referee with Young draped over the bottom rope, and Spud did not take the cheap shot for him. However, the finish of the match with Spud getting on the ring apron, Young throwing EC3 into him, then trying for the pile driver, EC3 countering with the low blow while the referee was distracted with Rockstar Spud, and EC3 then hits the 1%er. You kind of get the feeling sooner or later, Lance, that we'll have a feud with Spud and EC3, but I think the question is, when?
Well, since TNA's contract is up by the end of December.
I've heard reports that they renewed it, though.
That's not what I've been hearing, but I've heard they might switch companies, but because Spike wants to get out of the wrestling game. And if they do decide to do a angle between them, for the love of God, give Spud his clothes back that he had when he originally started out, when he was Rockstar Spud, not John Daly looking Spud.
Anyway, following that, we were scheduled to have Gail Kim defend the Knockouts Championship against Havok, but Havok attacked Gail Kim while she was making her way to the ring. I was recently asked on Sports Entertainment Tonight what would need to be done to improve the overall talent in the WWE Divas division. And after seeing the beatdown Havok put on Kim, there's no doubt in my mind that they need a talent Gail Kim like a Havok just to make their Divas division interesting to watch again. However, I was a little bit disappointed because I really want to see their matchup at this point. But then again, you know, when we get to further on in the review, we'll talk about that match. But yeah, it's kind of hard to argue with the fact that the Divas division, the WWE, is really lacking good talent, Lance.
Yes, very much so. But then again, they are the company that values look, and especially in the Divas division, looks over ability. Or why the hell else is Natalya basically a low to mid Carter in the Divas division?
Yep. As it pertains to the tag team title series, I knew the final match in this series had to be something big. I mean, big to cap off the entire series. Having the Wolves announce that the final match in the series would be a Full Metal Mayhem match was indeed a little predictable. This series has been just too good to write off on one little predictable moment. What do I mean by that? I mean, think about it. We've had a tables match. We've had a ladder match. And I think it would only make sense to put the two together. You know, a lot of fans are chanting TLC, TLC. Well, legally TNA can't do. You can't call that copyright, but they do have another thing they can use, and it's called Full Metal Mayhem, and that's exactly what they're doing. And to me, that's the best way to kind of cap off the series. Having Team 3D and the Hardys verbally run down the Wolves in the ring was somewhat of a mystery to me as to why they did it, since technically all three teams in this series are faces and not heel. But Lance, I believe that's besides the point, because I think everyone is looking forward to this match.
Very much so. The tables match was good. The ladder match was good. The Full Metal Mayhem is going to be absolutely insane.
Yep, and like I said, the best way to cap off the series. It's the best way to do it, because it kind of incorporates both those stipulations into the ultimate stipulation. But speaking of that, oh, shell yeah! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Shark Boy is back for one night in TNA. Too bad more of the focus was put towards Manic. Yes, Shark Boy took on the new Manic, accompanied by James Storm and the Great Sonata, and a lot of this focus was seeing the new moveset of Manic. It was a little bit more of a slower, more deliberate pace of this Manic instead of the usual high-speed, high-flying antics we're accustomed to seeing with him. Manic used a frog splash for the finish, and honestly, Lance, I have expected to see Storm kidnap Shark Boy, but it didn't happen.
Well, Shark Boy's already had his transformation from just Shark Boy to Stone Cold Steve Sharpston.
Man, I still remember that first night, and the way he pulled off Austin's voice, it was just so dead on. I don't know why they didn't let him continue trying to do Austin's voice like that, because I think they can get away with doing a parody. You know, it's not an exact copy, it's a parody.
Yeah, because, I mean, look at ECW, the original ECW, when they did the BWO.
Yeah.
WCW could not touch them because it was a parody.
Exactly. So, but anyway, up next we had MVP taking on Mr. Anderson. This match here stems from the incident involving Kenny King, MVP, and Christopher Melendez, and the lack of respect they showed him last week. I gotta admit, just based on that, there had to be a lot of people who wanted to see MVP just basically get his face bashed in. You could even hear it in Taz's commentary during this match, where he would comment on the actions of Kenny King towards Christopher Melendez last week. And honestly, I'm not really surprised to see TNA pair up Mr. Anderson with Melendez, given their history, both having military backgrounds, including it was I'm trying to remember who brought Melendez to Mr. Anderson, but Anderson's the one who also then recommended him to Team 3D, and they trained him. Now, there were several points in this match where we would see MVP kind of taunt Melendez, begging him to hit him, but Melendez showed restraint and didn't give in to the schoolyard taunting of MVP. Kenny King attempted to distract Anderson by getting on the ring apron, but Melendez would then get a measure of revenge on Kenny King by yanking him off the apron, which unfortunately distracted Anderson enough for MVP to roll him up for the win. Bottom line here, Lance, I want to see a tag match between these four guys.
Yes. I'm not a tag guy whatsoever, but that would be good.
And honestly, probably the only way to cap off the angle. I mean, they're working it with these four guys. Why not have them put a tag match? If any place, Bound for Glory. I mean, it's their big pay-per-view coming up. Up next, Bobby Roode was addressing his TNA future. Now, I noticed something during this segment, and I wonder if anyone else caught this, Lance. Now, we kind of saw earlier in the night a sort of change in the storyline with Rockstar Spud in EC3, and I kind of saw it here with Lashley. Bobby Roode was trying to convince Lashley to give him one more match, a.k.a. the WWE Christian Syndrome, one more match. And it looked like Lashley was going to say yes. Our MVP stepping in to say no, and the look Lashley had on his face after the fact kind of leads me to believe, Lance, that a change might be coming for Lashley's gimmick in TNA.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big man. Let's face it, it's a very large man. He does have Ultimate Fighting credentials. I would not want to piss him off.
Neither would I. But that's the way they seem to be taking this, so only time will tell. And finally, throughout the night, Gail Kim was getting looked at and worked on. Kurt Angle even at one point wanted to postpone the match until she was healed. Gail Kim said, "Do what it takes to get me to wrestle tonight." Now, wrestling traditionalists would look at the events leading into this match that were done to, in this case, the face of the match. In this instance, it's Gail Kim. Given her insurmountable odds to overcome as the champion going against the monstrous heel, in this instance, Havok. However, the odds were just not in the favor of Gail Kim despite an attempt to come back with the figure four leg lock over the steel ring post. Note to Havok, remember which shoulder you're working on during a match, and yes, I am referring to the shoulder breaker spot. She basically did the breaker spot on the wrong shoulder. If it's the left shoulder, that seems to be the one that you're working on. Do the breaker on that shoulder, not on the good shoulder. It wouldn't make any sense to even do the spot if you're not going to do it on the right shoulder. The spot would have worked better if she just would have executed it correctly. Instead, it just looked weird since the rest of her attack during the match went to the injured shoulder. Now, with Havok becoming the Knockouts champion here, Lance, there's just basically one question that needs to be answered. Will she be used as a transitional champion? Or will they have her run with the title like Awesome Kong, a.k.a. Karma, did in TNA? What do you think?
It'd be better if they let her run with it, because everybody else has pretty much been Knockouts champion. You got to, because everybody else has pretty much beat everybody else in this company, so got to give her to liven it up a little bit.
Yep. So on that note, guys and gals, it's now time to go on our overall score and our picks for best and worst match or segment of Impact Wrestling this week. And I gotta say, this was indeed a very interesting Impact, and I'm gonna go right off the bat and say my best match of the night is gonna go to Samoa Joe and Austin Aries. I thought this was indeed, again, you just get so enthralled in the match. You just get so the way they worked the match, it just had you so interested just to see the outcome, to get you hooked into watching it, and they pulled that off beautifully, and that's what makes them so good in the ring, Samoa Joe and Austin Aries. That, you know, they, even despite the fact that Austin Aries didn't win, it's the fact that, you know, you got hooked into watching the match, and they were able to draw you into it. That made that match as good as it was, and that's why it's best match of the night. Now, I really don't have a worst match of the night or segment, to be honest, because the rest of the show was really good, in my opinion. There was nothing that really stood out to me as being kind of weird, and plus there were no moments of Dixie Carter, and because, you know, on here, any moment with Dixie Carter is automatic worst match or segment of the night.
Yep.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give an honorable mention to the segment involving Bobby Roode and Bobby Lashley, because that indeed had me a little intrigued as to, you know, where they're going to take this. You know, are we definitely going to see a change in the gimmick for Bobby Lashley? You know, with the fact that MVP actually stood in and answered for Lashley when Lashley looked like he was going to say yes. MVP stood in front of him and said no and walked off, and the look that Lashley had on his face, again, it got you intrigued and interested to see as to where they go next. So I'm just going to give that an honorable mention since Will's not here. So my overall score,
too, by the way.
Yeah, I know, but my overall score is going to be a 3.5 out of 5. Lance, over to you. Your overall score and your picks for best and worst match or segment of Impact Wrestling this week.
Yeah, I gotta give it a 3.5 as well. And well, I share the same best match with you, that being the Aries Joe match, but the set there's a kind of an honorable mention, no trademark infringement. Well, it's the return of Shark Boy. Even though it's one night only, it was still good to hear "Oh Shell, yeah."
And that's the fishing line, 'cause Shark Boy said so. Where's that clam juice? Anyway, on that note, guys and gals, what we want to know now from you guys out there, yes, you guys, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Impact Wrestling this week. What are your overall scores? What are your picks for best and worst match or segment of Impact Wrestling? Your reactions to Havok becoming the new Knockouts champion. Your thoughts about the MVP stepping in for Lashley and telling Bobby Roode, no, you can't have a shot at the title. We definitely want to know what you guys have to say. Be sure to put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. Lance, what can fans expect to see when they come visit your channel over on youtube.com/LanceMossTV?
Album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, redneck gourmet cooking videos, a bunch of musical equipment reviews and stuff like that, and whatever rants pops into my head. If you hadn't subscribed, why hadn't you?
Fans, don't forget to like the Facebook page, facebook.com/WGS-TV, and don't forget to please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZFXTV Network if you haven't already. So for the incomparable Lance Moss and Lance Moss TV, I'm the WrestleGamer, Double B Billy Boudreaux, saying thank you very much for watching.